honeybee shine out from the colony.
The last 2 times I was in this hive, I noticed that the brood nest didn't seem to be growing. They had the first 5 combs with a good, strong, healthy brood in it, but they grew no further. And there's a box above them that had old comb in it that they still haven't moved up into. So I'm going to go in here, try to determine what's going on, and if they're blocked by nectar and pollen stores in the lower box, I'm going to move them up and hopefully expand the brood nest and encourage them to move up into the upper box. As it's getting warmer, they will be needing more room for brood. They ought to have quite a bit of young bees about to emerge any day now. So I'm in the top box now. I'm looking this over, and I'm finding this first comb I'm pulling all the way at the back of the box is just completely empty. It was early in the spring it was full of honey stores, but they've completely used it out, and there's not even any nectar in it now. So I'm assuming they're starting to store their nectar down near their brood, and that could be enough to limit the queen from being able to lay further near the brood nest. Tried to speed the boring parts up a bit so this movie isn't as quite as long and boring as it could be. It's interesting to me, but not so much to watch on a movie. Now this number 8 bar was completely empty. All it had was a little bit of wax on it from the comb that it held the year before. So they haven't even started to draw a comb on it. And also the hive is just now starting to build up in numbers. They just may not have enough bees at this point yet to start drawing comb. They need everybody on board for foraging and nursing of the young brood. A little smoke on the hands to maybe take my smell off of them and discourage the bees from stinging me if they become so inclined. But this is a pretty nice bunch of bees here. There's my smoked bees feeding on some nectar that they had stored in there, and there was some pollen in that comb also. Dropping some of those bees down in there. I don't need to disorient them when I move the comb off to the side. I'm using a tool that I fashioned that is great for cutting the sides of the comb from the inside of from the walls of the Warray box. It also is a really handy tool for cutting out little pieces of brace comb and burr comb that develops in between the combs. I think something a lot like it would really be helpful in a frame hive too, though I haven't fashioned one yet from my Langstroth hives. Now here's a comb that's just about covered with nectar and pollen. No capped honey yet. My quality control on my top bars wasn't great. Some of them need to be trimmed down to fit in other boxes. Note to self, need to have a small saw at the bee yard. When I do this, I have to be very careful to move slowly and deliberately, cutting through the edge of the comb just a little at a time. I tried it moving too fast when I first made it, and every now and then you kill a bee. I have found if I cover the other combs that I'm not working on, that it helps to keep the other bees calm in the rest of the brood nest, while I just expose the part that I'm working on. Whoop, almost broke the comb off. I was hoping to see some eggs or larvae on this comb 6, but I found there was none. It was only pollen and nectar. But comb number 5 had a terrific, just about wall-to-wall brood with good portion of it capped. Excellent laying pattern. I'm putting bars in that have already had combs started on them before, hoping that they'll, as new bees become available for nurse bees, that the nurse bees that are in there now will become comb builders and start building comb and expanding the brood nest out. And they now have 3 combs in the top box. within which to start building up. Now that I've gone through their house and moved all their furniture around, as you can imagine, they're a bit disturbed. They're buzzing kind of angrily. And I'll have to sit around and make sure that they all settle down after I get their house back together again. But there's quite a few bees out front orienting around and buzzing all over the place and trying to figure out what in the world happened to their house. And 5 feet away is my old sweet dog Lucy, who decided to take a nap, not even realizing this horde of angry bees is buzzing all around her head.